So we just hit the year mark for hosting vintage clothing markets. We had our 9th one, and the last 2 were probably the lowest amount of traffic we've ever had, while still having the most social following. As we continue to grow the social media page, we've been putting more money into advertisements. Like, it actually was springtime. People were in the mindset of starting to update their wardrobe with springtime pieces. And I think the future of vintage clothing markets is going to be shifting. I think the vendors, what they're going to have to carry in order to be successful is going to change. And I'm going to share with you some of the insights and some of the things that I'm thinking about in regards to how we host our markets and what we ourselves we bring into our markets. So from the very get-go, when we started hosting our own markets, I very much wanted to focus on the fact that I am putting the vendors first always. It's not just collecting the vendor fee and then, doing a little bit of promotion, and if the vendors do good or not, we don't care. Being someone that's done plenty of markets before ourselves, the goal was to make sure that the vendors are taken care of, because if they're taken care of, that means they're happy, and if they're happy, they're more likely to come back. We can keep demand high for vendors to apply. But one thing that I always do with every single vendor, if I know they're doing other markets, I ask them, how are the other markets? What are you noticing? How much are you moving? How much are you making? All that kind of stuff. And I talked to 2 different vendors who, in between our March market and our April market, they each did a different market. One of them did a market on a pretty large college campus, and another one did a market, an area near us that was like a newer market that was really, really bumping. So first, starting off, the one that was at a college, they said that it was still a really great market. They still made a lot of money, but they'd done that market several times at this college campus, and it was the lowest they had ever made at a market. Well, on the other hand, the vendor that did the other market, that was this newer market, they had a line to start because it was indoors, so not everyone can get in. But then come the end of the market, when it was supposed to be done, they still had a line of people waiting outside. And so because of that, they stayed open an extra hour later. But then when he told me how much he made, I was like, what? Like, that's all you made? That's everything when it's all said and done? Because he had made more money at some of our past markets, and our markets had never been as bumping as that, where it was just nonstop traffic the whole entire time, and even had to stay happening longer because there's so many people. So hearing that instantly makes me realize that in general, people are still going to markets. You never know, especially if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of like vintage stores, like in upstate New York compared to a lot of other places in the country. Like, people are still wanting to shop secondhand. The secondhand market is still growing exponentially, but people are becoming smarter with their money. In this economy, people aren't just blowing money frivolously. They want to buy stuff they know is good quality. They want to buy stuff they know it fits them. They want to buy stuff that they know they really, really like. It's not just like, oh, it's $10 or $20, I'm gonna get it. They're willing to pay up for stuff, which we had seen at this last market we just had as well, because we had vendors still moving high-end stuff. Pricey Carhartt jackets were still moving. I know a vendor sold like a Y2K hoodie for like $80. Like, people are still buying higher end stuff, even at our booth. We intentionally brought more higher end pieces, and probably the average price point of what we sold was like $50. So with that, with our last market in April, we had vendors make less money, and I think it's mostly because of the fact that we did have less foot traffic. I think it was not advantageous for us, the fact that it was a beautiful day that day outside, and our market was held indoors, and like literally leading up to that market on April 26th, we maybe have had like 8 to 10 really nice weather days this whole entire year. It has been the longest winter ever. It has been wet, it has been cold, it has been gross outside. So I think that didn't help us, which might have reduced the foot traffic. But regardless, like, it's not surprising after hearing how these other vendors went for them in regards to the fact that they had markets that were bumping, still tons of people at them, but they made less money than they have in the past. So initially, what that makes me think of, not only as someone that hosts a market, but someone that does the markets, like we set up a booth as well, is like, you want to bring unique stuff. You want to bring stuff that is pricier, because people will pay up for good stuff if you have good stuff. Don't be just thinking everything's gotta be 10 or 20 bucks. Like, if you have really sick stuff, unique stuff, bring that stuff through too. But at the same time, I think a lot of markets, especially from markets that I've seen, like, they think the bigger a market is, the more likely like people are to show up, and then more likely vendors are to make money at these markets. But unless you're doing something absolutely huge, like a huge, massive, like Rose Bowl type market or Brimfield type market, you know, where there's like literally hundreds of vendors where like people can spend like all day there, and there's like tons of stuff. There's clothing and there's jewelry and there's like, you know, a ton of vintage and secondhand stuff, not just clothing. Like those, I think, can be big and still be successful. Where if you're someone that's like us, like at that 20 to 50 vendor mark, it ends up breeding a lot of competition between the vendors, right? I mean, like the more opportunities for someone to shop and look around, the more likely they are to actually look around and try to find the best possible deal for themselves, understandably. So for us, like we have no intention of making our markets any bigger. If anything, we might make them a little bit smaller and just make sure we're prioritizing vendors that really focus on their curation. Like some vendors pack their racks. Like literally you have to like try to break the rack open to try to actually see what's hitting on the rack because it's so stuffed, because vendors think in their head, oh, the more I bring, the more opportunities I have to sell, the more money I have to make. But for us at this last market, we brought the least amount of stuff we've ever brought to a market while bringing higher end pieces. And like, even though we did make less compared to other past markets, it wasn't as bad for how few items we sold. Like having that $50 average price point per item is probably 30 to 40% higher than what we would typically price, or our average would be for what we typically bring to markets. And with all of that, even though for us, like we put a lot of money into advertisements, and with that, we put a lot of money into targeting people between the ages of 18 to 44 years old. So we try to hit a good wide range of people, and based off of the ad metrics, like all those different age groups are resonating with it, people from that whole entire spectrum. But what we're seeing most people show up is the 18 to 24-year-olds, is the seniors in high school, is the college kids, is people just graduating college, which isn't surprising because that is a demographic that is most likely to buy secondhand in general across all the generations. But like I'm wondering why we're not getting as many of those older people that are engaging with our ads. And I think it has to do with maybe just the type of vendors that we have at our markets. And not to say any of our vendors are like not desirable or not ideal for any, you know, age group, but it's just like I think there is a way of messaging and promoting a market and a business that allows it to cater to a certain type of person. And really, we want those older age groups. We want the people in their late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, you know, early 40s to show up to our markets as well, because they typically have more expendable income to buy things. And it makes me think of, like, for example, Distressed Fest out in New York City. Now, Distressed Fest, not to say that they were targeting a certain age group, but they're definitely targeting a certain type of person that wants the rare stuff, that wants the distressed stuff, that wants the stuff that's really, really old and is willing to pay up for more of those items. So it's something that I'm thinking about. It's like, obviously I want Gen Z there. I want young people to shop with us, but how do we get more older people to shop with us? So that's something that I noticed, something that I'm going to try to work on and try to reverse engineer more. So really, I think what it comes down to in regards to markets and as well as in regards to vendors is like you have to be making it worth it for someone to come and check out your market, and it has to be like a big special event. If you're having it all the time, it makes it less special. If you're just bringing like any vendors, like whoever first ones to apply instantly get accepted and those you're accepting, that might be the best case scenario. Like we've declined a lot of people just because we don't think they would be successful in our markets. We intentionally don't take their money because we think they might not make enough money to even cover the vendor fee, or barely cover the vendor fee and then some, to where it's like, is it worth a 6-hour day for you of setting up, tearing down, being there all day to barely scrape by on top of the vendor fee? So you have to make sure that, one, the vendors are happy, and the vendors are happy if people show up, but people also have to spend money with them. And like as a marketer, as a vendor, you have to think outside the box. You have to think, how can you level up? Think of every single little aspect of the business, and don't think of it as from the reseller's perspective. You need to think of it from the average Joe Schmo. Someone's walking up into the market, they see a bunch of vendors, what's gonna catch their eye? How can they have a better experience in your booth? Are you friendly and smile? Do you use Pokemon card price tags and plastic hangers? Do you jam the rack super tight, or do you have it breathable? Do you have really nice sturdy racks, or your rack's really flimsy where it's like if I move one thing over, it feels like the whole thing's gonna topple over, so now I don't wanna touch it, I'm just gonna go to the next booth instead. Like, the more you think about the customer experience, the better it's going to be for you at the market. And for us as people that are hosting the markets, we are constantly thinking, how do we get more people there? How do we make people happier? How do we do all these types of things? And with that being said, for us, luckily we were able to find a space to have a winter market, which in Ithaca, New York, is very hard to do. There's only so many like event type spaces that's able to become feasible. But at the same time, we are trying to find a new springtime space that's going to be really good for us, that's going to allow us to have a better atmosphere and ambiance for people and make sure people can linger. I think that is a big thing too as well. It's like if you just have it in a parking lot, that can be great too and still be okay, but at the end of the day we want to make sure people can be able to like hang out. Is there food trucks? Is there a restaurant? Is there drinks? Is there seating? Is there music? Is there just like a nice view of something? Like all those things definitely add up. So yeah, that's what we're taking away from our current markets. And I think markets need to be smart. I think as vendors need to be smart, and things will only get better from there. So hope you guys like this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and let you guys know in the next one.